this is your June 24 soul story. If you've got a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, some of these messages might help you as you make your way through the month ahead. It's Romy. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. We are going to open up this month with the energy of the King of Wands. There's certainly a challenge around you in June, but I want you to look at it as just knowledge that you have yet to acquire that is going to allow you to navigate this next phase or pathway in your life, because you're going to bring to the table in June a very regulated, creative, balanced and innovative approach to everything that comes your way. And I think you will surprise yourself, actually, especially in the first part of June. You know, we have a stellium of energy gathering in Gemini in your 11th house, and it's almost like you're going to bounce off people incredibly well in this first week or so. As we build to the new moon in Gemini, you know, there are sparks of new conversations that feel incredibly refreshing. Don't get me wrong, there's also conversations that feel very loaded and conditional, and you're going to need to kind of sieve and sort your way through the people and the environments that are going to be conducive to the vision that you have for yourself. You're definitely showing a need to strive for something in June. And striving, by the way, doesn't mean that you have to kind of force or make yourself exhausted in the pursuit of it. It's just that there's something that feels, maybe a dream, an idea, a thought, almost like too big. And the more you try to kind of resist it, the more it's calling to you. So there's almost like an acceptance I see taking place this month that is saying, okay, you know, what is it going to take? Like, what is it I need to do to give myself permission to move in this direction? Because it's not going anywhere. And like the chatter and the energy and the buzz that Gemini brings to you is also starting to reveal solutions and ideas, perhaps in ways that you can start to harness technology, you know, work with other people from a networking perspective, lean on the friendships and the support circles that you have. You know, we have this really beautiful date on the 4th where Venus will conjunct the Sun, and this Cazimi brings like a potent, influential energy, and it wraps you up in a beautiful sort of warm embrace. And what it's really asking you to do is, you know, especially where you feel uncertain, you know, the antidote in this moment is not to have certainty, but to dive deeper into self-trust. And it's definitely around, you know, those few days as we build to the new moon on the 6th, which is going to be a beautiful fresh start, that you really want to lean deeply into that self-trust within yourself. And what you might come to the conclusion of at that time is, I've got to go. Like, I literally have to move on. I have to give myself, you know, the space to follow this path, which means, you know, there are going to be some bigger changes happening in my life. I've got to, you know, pull back from perhaps certain people, certain groups, certain friendships, certain work or priorities that once upon a time, you know, felt like the center of my world. But now everything is changing, and you kind of have to move with that, because the more you try to resist it, the more uncomfortable you feel. And it's almost like, you know, to a certain degree, nothing really feels like a comfort zone anymore, right? Are you with me on that? It just, there's a perpetual kind of challenge that feels like it's inviting us to grow and ascend and become more discerning and aware and keep moving through our fears and keep coming up against the things that trigger us deeply. But those triggers are like an initiation, and it just shows me that your willingness this month to be present and be all in allows for some incredibly like rapid progress. And I think, you know, in part the realization, you know, as you move through that first part of June, that you can't take it with you. There's, you know, there's some sense of things becoming really clear to you that actually it doesn't hold any value because I can't take it with me where I'm going in this next chapter, in this next version of me. You know, I can take the experience and hold the memory, but I do have to now create space for a lot of other things to start to show up for me. And it might be difficult because, you know, not everyone might see what you see. Yeah, and there's not a need for you to try to force that. I think a lot of people will come around in some regards to a degree of understanding, if not acceptance, but certainly an understanding of where you're at and where your choices and decisions are emerging from. Ace of Pentacles, love that for you, because the fresh new energy, in some ways you've been working on for a long time. You know, those roots are deep. And it might have felt for you like, God, like, is this ever going to get going? Is this ever going to move? Is this ever going to happen? I feel like I've invested into this, whatever it may be, relationship, idea, passion, work, you know, within the self. And it's like the result hasn't been there. It's not been there. It's not been there. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, something shifts and you can see it starting to take shape and form, and that gives you a hunger, right? It gives you a sort of, okay, like now, you know, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be, this absolutely was the right decision. So there's something quite validating coming in June for you, and I think in and around that new moon you'll feel it quite strongly. And you might even have that sensation of like butterflies in the belly, or energy like really coursing through you. It's just like that telltale sign that, yeah, this is me on the right track with something. We know with the aces, they're the potential. We know the energy needs to be directed. Her hand is reaching out to touch the flower that is emerging. That's important. Like you tangibly need to feel it. Yeah, so there's something, it's not just an idea or a concept, there's something in the physical form, an offer, you know, something that is showing up that feels to you like, yes, I know what I can do with this. That's really important. Mars and Taurus on the 8th, giving us a deliberate focus and a sustainable effort to then take the action towards what it is that's going to need to happen in order to bring through the results that we seek. And remember, it's better habits that are going to bring you better results through this month of June. Yeah, you have to be incredibly open to the discovery. The discovery phase for you in the month of June is hugely enlightening. Leo. Now, let's pay attention on the 11th. We've got a little bit of a challenging, there we go, the devil, a challenging aspect coming in. Mars squaring Pluto, all about power and fear. And remember, Pluto's retrograde, so a lot of that's going to be centered and directed inwards. So you're going to be asking questions of yourself like, why am I keeping myself so small? Like, why am I not empowered in this situation? And there'll be a trigger there, right? There's going to be something that's going to make you feel like you are bound or restricted or suppressed or limited. And the reason that flags itself up, the reason the light shines on it, is so that you can deal with it, so that you can heal it, so that you can move beyond it. And again, this is where I want you to remember that the challenge which will come is just inviting you to acquire more knowledge. What's the knowledge? What is it that you need to understand or seek or be open to that is going to give you the way through this? Okay, so be aware, power and fear being activated in and around that date could come up with some difficult conversations, with just feeling like you're being put in a position you're really unhappy with. You know, it may even be that you feel like you're in a position where you're misusing your position, you know, so there's all sorts that will kind of come to light to be mindful of. But really, it sticks out as a more challenging aspect in what is overall a month that has beautiful energies coming in to try to help us, to give us that way of knowing that, you know, life is about how we feel, not, you know, what it looks like. So how is it making us feel, the life we are creating for ourselves? You know, as we move into Cancer season, Venus into the sign on the 16th, Mercury on the 17th, you know, this is important. And solstice, of course, arriving then on the 20th to give us that moment of reset. Now, the day before, Vesta, asteroid goddess, is shifting into your sign, Leo. So really beautiful energy to work with for the solstice. And here, you know, I think there's a restlessness for you. There's a hunger to find meaning, spiritual meaning, I think, in a lot of what is played out for you or you seeing played out. And that's making you question all sorts of things. It also makes you quite protective. Remember, Vesta is the caretaker of that sacred inner flame. So there's definitely this, you know, wanting to exercise a degree of I want to say caution, like that's not quite the right word, just exercise a degree of mindfulness, yeah, because as we said, this is a month about you being regulated and balanced and innovative and creative and bringing ingenuity to the party. Now temperance, will help you to kind of, I suppose, balance up where there are challenges and make sure they don't derail you, because that can happen sometimes, right? We feel like, oh, finally I'm making some progress, this month feels a bit lighter, then something comes in and all of a sudden it's like, I feel like nothing's changed, I'm back to where I was, I've lost the vibe, I've lost the feeling, I can't recapture it, and I'm back to that kind of uncertainty or anxiety around certain things. So temperance coming in a very healing way. And remember, as we move into Cancer season, it's your 12th house, so a lot of that's being activated in a really sacred way. And then there are some things that start to go on behind the scenes for you. So as we move into the second part of June, and right around that solstice, we also have the full moon in Capricorn landing on the 21st. Now this is the first of two this year, okay? The second one will arrive on the 21st of July. So anything that's surfacing around those few days for you, you have like a second chance, if you like, to kind of really get it right, and to really deal with it. So Three of Swords comes through, and there's certainly something healing that is coming up for you to acknowledge around that time. But I also feel like we're right on target. So sometimes when you're struggling to understand, like, what is my block, and I really want to direct this in that way for you with this card emerging, okay? Sometimes we don't understand why we're not moving forward in a relationship, why our business isn't working, why our prosperity consciousness isn't shifting. And each and every one of us will have a unique set of our own limitations and beliefs and stories and blocks that reside within us for many, many different reasons. That period in June is incredibly revealing for you in terms of what that block is, and it's something that you'll be working on and be mindful and aware of all the way through into the end of July. So remember, the full moon in Capricorn is grounding us in and helping us to realize, and how to really work diligently, consistently, with confidence to accept, and then to find a surrender into something pertaining to this. So that's what I'm seeing that as coming through for you. The identification of a specific block. What you need to do with that is the thing that you'll be supported with in that solstice energy as you come into a seasonal alignment, okay? And remember, Saturn shifts retrograde in Pisces on the 29th, right? So there's a slowing down energy there to make sure that we do it and we do it right. And so you'll really see the fruition of a lot of the work that you do over the next few weeks in regards to that, when Saturn goes direct later this year. Not to say you won't feel the immediate uplift, because actually I think you will. As soon as that sort of realization of what the block is, I think it's going to make you look at a lot of things in a new light in the month of June, Leo. Especially as you consider like where you've been investing some of your energy. And if I see you, which I am, as showing up in this very regulated, balanced, sort of highly creative, innovative energy in June, you're also at the same time as the discovery of the answers, regardless of how sort of, destabilizing that might feel emotionally at times, you're also kind of putting into place straight away things that are helping to support you with it. So you don't just feel like you're an island. All of a sudden things are showing up very serendipitously for you, actually, that you're like, oh my god, I really need to go and address this, and all of a sudden then you see a course on it, or somebody talks to you about having seen somebody that helped them, and there's an awful lot of translation of information happening through your friends, your communities, your groups, and you may be the one that instigates like bringing together people in a new way through the month of June. That's also going to be something that will really serve you as you harness that stellium of energy in Gemini, especially around the new moon. That's going to be an important time for you. I think in regards like relationships, there's an awful lot of you needing more time than you might ordinarily to kind of really figure out what you want to do with regards to something. And so a lot of outside input and advice and counsel will be sought by you, don't get me wrong, and I think can be helpful. But ultimately, it's very important through this month that when you're coming to important decisions and conclusions regards other people, especially kind of what happens next situation in any of the connections and relationships you've got in your life, that you do have the time to sort of sit and think and work autonomously and come to that clear choice that your body will guide you to from a physical perspective, your mind will support, and then you'll feel energetically aligned with it. Okay, that's really powerful. And I would say that the time to kind of sit with that, if you've got things going on pertaining to those themes, is definitely going to be on the 4th with Venus. Okay, she's also going to give you around that date some incredible ideas and inspiration with regards income, abundance, you know, looking at ways to work more inspirationally in terms of like where you're at. Are you using all your gifts? Like, are people seeing you for what you're capable of? You know, it's like a spotlight gets shined within you to see the value of you, and then you figure out through the course of the month how you apply that. And again, Capricorn full moon really helping with that. Remember, shaping our public image and how we show up in the world, the legacy that we're leaving. So if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of the reading. I'm just going to go ahead and do some clarification cards and see what we'll be talking about. The extended reading is around 30 minutes. We also look at a personal card and a relationship card for you. So I hope you'll join me in exploring this reading in more depth. It just helps me to keep showing up and offering the free readings. For those that join me for the extended, you really support the channel, so thank you so much. 8 of Cups, we have 4 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, foundations shifting and changing here. Yeah, 9 of Wands, 6 of Wands, beautiful. Got the Lovers there and the Moon. Temperance is bringing through 2 of Wands, 6 of Cups, and the Knight of Wands came through as well. What about this 3 of Swords, 6 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups, and Strength. Okay, beautiful. Please check out my sacred titles. You'll find my oracle deck and my book, Moon Musings. You'll find all my sacred soul support, guided meditations, and also ways to work with me over on romywiser.com. This month, the new meditation is for solstice, so please check that out if you enjoy working with rituals at this sacred time of the year. I'm just going to look at Life Soul Vision. So this is my own oracle deck if you're new to the channel. What do we have here? Eclipse Revelations, Destiny Speaks. I'm sure you're still feeling reverberations from April, right? Carries over in its influence. We've got Spirit Horse and we've got New Moon. We've also got Mirrors of the Mind coming through. Spirit Crane. And there is our full moon. 2 moons showing up for you in June. Something not being clear, something being blocked from view, but I do think this is how you have to kind of feel into the experience. You know, you might not see, but you'll certainly feel it, and that'll give you everything that you need to know. You know, there's a deepening trust that you have in your own intuitive ability, Leo. I'm sure you're noticing that, just feeling like you can trust in yourself. Oracle, we have consistency. Beautiful. We've got Sirius coming through for you. I hope you will join me for the extended. We'll look deeper into this reading for the month ahead for you. Take good care. Have a beautiful month of June. Enjoy solstice. And I'll see you again next time.